So we have last time completed the third section of this chapter. Third section was blowing of the conch shells, which are the signs of victory. So blowing of the conch shells were the sign of victory. For whom? For Pandavas. And we discussed how different conch shells were blown and how it shattered the hearts of Kauravas. So till from 12th verse to 19th verse was the third section of this chapter, blowing of the conch shell, sign of victory for Pandavas. Now we will enter into the fourth section. So we see that on the battlefield the atmosphere was totally surcharged, and the world's most powerful armies had gathered at Kurukshetra. So you can imagine, generally, this is very rare occasion, isn't it? The armies from all over the world are gathered in the Kurukshetra in one place. So everybody was spirited for the battle. Everybody was gathered to fight and was spirited for battle. So Srila Prabhupada, he says that, this was the spirit that people were themselves very much interested to fight the battle. And this is the typical also Kshatriya's nature also, that he likes to fight like that. So Prabhupada says that in 1960s, in America, when there was a Vietnam War, that time they were drafting, that they were drafting the young people. Now also I think that kind of thing is going on in Ukraine and Russia war, where there is drafting. Drafting means what? Forcefully admitting people into army, saying that no, it is required, you must fight. And the people who were going into army, some of them were happy maybe, but many of them were extremely frustrated because that's not their nature. Their varna may be different. They are not of Kshatriya varna. So they are forcefully told to go, and in this way, there was a big opposition from from public itself. So America has had to end that Vietnam War. Now also we see that in Russia war also this type of drafting is going on. So, but whereas these people were gathered in Kurukshetra, fighting was there in their blood. And in this way, they had come. And what was their motivation? They had this faith that if we die on the battlefield, we'll go to Swargaloka. We'll attain the heavenly planets. And that's a fact. If somebody dies on the battlefield, Avdharma Yuddha, then he can get Swargaloka. So in this way, two armies, Kaurava army and Pandava army, they were in big formations and the conch shells were blowing. And when the conch shells were blowing, the hairs of the warriors, they were standing on end in anticipation. And Krishna was there with Arjun in his chariot. So now, last verse we saw that how Kapidwaja, the verse was coming as Kapidwaja. No, this is 20 only. Yeah. So last time only, actually we had completed 20th verse also last time, correct. So we had already started fourth section. The fourth section is Arjuna observe the armies. So 20 to 27 verses is the fourth section of this chapter. That is Arjuna observe the armies. By the way, this chapter in Sanskrit is named as Arjuna Vishada Yoga. So this is particularly describing the lamentation of Arjun, Vishad. So now 20 to 27 verses, Arjun is going to observe the armies. So in 20th verse also, it describes how Arjun took up his bow and was prepared to shoot arrows after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in the military array, and the battle was about to begin. So here 20th verse, it is said Kapidwaja. So Arjun had Hanumanji on his flag. Arjun had Hanumanji on his flag, and so we know this pastime that in Mahabharata there was a meeting between Hanuman and Bhima. So once upon a time, will not go too much detail, but just overview that once upon a time, when Arjun was seeking some celestial weapons, that time other Pandavas they wandered to Badrikashram. You know, so you may be knowing Badrikashram is there in the Himalayas, and suddenly, so in Badrikashram there is a Alaknanda river. Hmm. In that Alaknanda river, uh, when Draupadi was sitting on the bank of this Alaknanda river, there was a very beautiful, uh, fragrant thousand petal lotus flower came in front of her from the river. And she was so much attracted to this lotus that she immediately took that lotus, and then she requested. It was so fragrant also, so she requested Bhima that kindly. Please bring this lotus, many such lotuses for me. Let us gift these lotuses to Yudhishthir Maharaj. So that is my desire. That give me more lotuses, and we can take back to our hermitage at Kamyaka. So Bhima said, "Okay. So this is what is your desire. I'll bring lotuses, many such lotuses." And then Bhima he grabbed his club. He started climbing the hills, and he was not caring, that. He was making a very big sound, and he was there was he was not caring for any animals, wild animals. He was not caring for any trees, jungle, and anybody, and even where the uh, human beings were not allowed, he was entering to that field. And in this way he just was going, but then suddenly one monkey came in front of him and blocked his path. And then Bhima said, "Hey monkey, get lost from here, get out from here, I have to go." Then monkey said that, "You just sit down and peacefully, why are you making so much noise? Why are you disturbing this entire atmosphere of jungle? So eat some fruits with me." Bhima said, "Hey, move aside." So, so monkey said, "I don't want all these fruits and all. I have to do something. You go get lost from here." So monkey said, "Actually, I have become too old, so I cannot move aside." And Bhima was a person with proper etiquettes. So he saw that monkey's tail was blocking the path. So Bhima was having that much etiquette that he did not cross over the tail, because that's a etiquette. One should not cross over the body of any living entity, right? That's what we follow also. One should not cross over the body. So he did not consider that to be appropriate. So he was telling, "Hey, take out your tail." And this monkey said, "I'm so old, so I cannot do it. Maybe you can only do it." Bhima said, "Okay, I'll do it." And then he started lifting that tail. Then he could see that, hey, he's not at all able to lift the tail. He was having ability to lift big rocks and big mountains, but he was unable to lift the tail of a monkey, and he was surprised, and he understood this cannot be an ordinary monkey. So then he said, so he offered him obeisance. He said, "Please tell me, who are you?" And then that monkey showed his real form. He said, "I am Hanuman." And then Bhima was very much happy to meet his brother, because Hanuman is brother, right? Bhima and Hanuman both are sons of Vayudev. So in this way, uh, then Hanumanji said, that, "Okay, I am pleased with you." And Hanumanji embraced Bhima. And then Bhima requested that, "I want to see that form with which you jumped across ocean to Lanka." And then Hanumanji showed his huge, gigantic form, which was much bigger than the size of Bhima. So Bhima himself was very huge in size, but Hanumanji became even bigger size. So in this way, Bhima he touched the lotus feet of Hanumanji and sought his blessings. And then Hanumanji said, what blessings you want?" And then Bhima said that, "When we will have this battle of Kurukshetra, please come on our side." Hanumanji said, "Yes, I agree. So I'll sit on the flag of Arjun, and whenever you roar, I will also roar along with you. I'll add my voice roaring along with you. And together, both of our voices will become so terrible that it will practically shatter the hearts of all the opposite party Kauravas. They'll be thoroughly discouraged in their fighting." So although Hanumanji did not physically fight, but his sound itself was very frightening for Kauravas, and by that their hearts were getting weakened. They are about to get kind of heart attack also, like that. So in this way, uh, Bhima was also there. So this was another sign of Hanumanji was there on the flag of Arjun. So that was another sign of victory. So, so in this way, everybody was very much ready for battle now, because conscience have blown means battle is going to begin now. So horses and elephants, they're moving excitedly, and there were, when Arjun was just on the brink of the battle, he spoke now the following words. He spoke the following. So now Arjun is beginning to speak from the 21st verse. So please recite 21st verse. Who is going to recite?
Deepak Prabhu.
Arjuna Vacha
Arjuna
Vacha
Vacha
Tenayar Ubhayor Madhye
Ubayor Madhye
Ratam Sthapya Me Achyuta
Stapya me achyuta
Yavad Etani Riksheham
Yavadetam niriksheham
Yuddho Kaman Avastitan
Kamanavasthitam
Keramaya Saha Yodhavyam
Maya Sayodhyam
Asmin Rana Samudhayam. Translation. Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies, so that I may see those present here who desire to fight, and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms.
Yeah, so this purport is very beautiful. Please read the purport, and we'll
Purport.
discuss the purport, some portions. Yeah, please go.
Although Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, out of his causeless mercy, he was engaged in the service of his friend. He never fails in his affection for his devotees, and thus he is addressed herein as infallible. As charioteer, he had to carry out the orders of Arjuna, and since he did not hesitate to do so, he is addressed as infallible.
Yes.
Although he
So generally, wait. So generally we know this name of Krishna as Achyuta. Here the name is coming as Achyuta. Achyuta means infallible. So generally the meaning of word Achyuta means who doesn't fall down to material existence. Krishna is always situated on the transcendental position, and he never comes down to material position. He never falls to material position. So that's why he is called as Achyuta generally. But here Prabhupada gives a very interesting definition of word Achyuta. What is that? Achyuta, the word Achyuta means Krishna who never fails in his affection for his devotees. Isn't it such a sweet and such intimate, such loving meaning of word Achyuta? This first meaning which I told is very official, very philosophical meaning. But this is a very, devotional, can say, or very heart-touching meaning of word Achyuta, that he never fails in his affection towards his devotees. So further also, we see that that's how Krishna is such a friend. That's why his name is Bhakta Vatsal, and that is the most heart-touching quality of Krishna. He's always very loving to devotees. He'll never betray. He's such a friend. He'll never betray his friends. Not only he doesn't betray his friends, he's ready to do any service for his devotees. He's ready to do anything for his devotees. That is the glory of Krishna. How wonderful he is. Can you imagine? He's a supreme lord and he's taking the position of a chariot driver just to please his friend, devotee friend, Arjun. Isn't it? It's not a very simple thing. Now, was there anybody else who also agreed out of love to become chariot driver of somebody?
Kamsa became the charioteer of
Karuna Vrajeshwar, correct. Kamsa became the chariot driver of Devaki. Can we call Kamsa as Achyuta?
No.
Why not? Why not?
Actually,
that problem will become then he start killing also his own sister. He's just doing for sense gratification purpose.
Yeah, Kamsa was not doing it for really with the affection for his sister. It was more his own egoistic extended gratification for which he was doing. So, and what is the proof? As soon as his sense gratification was getting hampered by that Akashwani, immediately he wanted to kill only. So he failed in his affection towards his sister, right? He failed in his affection towards his sister. On the other hand, we see Krishna, he never fails in his affection with his devotees. Although he had to become a chariot driver of Arjun, he was ready to do so. Similarly, Krishna ran away from battlefield out of his affection for Rukmini, whose letter was about to come, and he considered that to be more important, was ready to be called by materialistic people as ranchod, one who has ran away from battlefield. In this way, Krishna's always priority is giving affection to his devotees, isn't it? And one may say, so, okay, all they may be devotees, but what about us? But we see for every jiva, Krishna's affection is also infallible like this. Because even though somebody may go and become a worm in the stool, still in that species also Krishna agrees to accompany the jiva in the heart as a Paramatma. So in this way, his Achyuta, he never fails in his affection towards anybody, not to speak of devotees, even to every living entity. Krishna is personally residing in everybody's heart and guiding, fulfilling their desires, guiding them, trying to give them good counsel and arranging so many things for an individual jiva. So that's how Krishna's name is Achyuta. He's infallible. He's not at all, never deviates from his duty towards his devotees, duty towards his friends. He's the best friend. He never betrays. And we can see he's ready to take such a humble position, such menial role. Even in Rajasuya sacrifice, also Krishna took the role of washing the feet of the guests, especially the Brahmanas. Such a menial role. Why? Out of affection for Yudhishthir Maharaj. Hmm. So that is such a wonderful quality of Krishna. He's so loving by nature. Actually, if we really think about it and if you understand this Krishna's love, we will also fall in love with Krishna. Actually, because there is no person like Krishna in this world who can love us so unconditionally, so unconditionally ignorant of everyone. So, and that's what he's showing. So, uh, we see that he is ready to do anything for Arjun, even to become. So, one of the most touching thing for me personally when I heard this, that in battlefield, I heard that now there was so much of noise that there was no possibility of Arjun to tell Krishna where to go. Hmm. So Arjun is to kick Krishna on a particular side. Hmm. So if he had to go, he has to take the chariot on left side. Arjun would kick Krishna on the left side, and if he has to go on right side, then Arjun would kick Krishna on the right side. So Krishna was ready to take such kicks of his devotees also, and he did not mind it. Hmm. Imagine one of our friends kicks us. We'll become so angry, right, on him. Hey, मुझे क्या समझा है, वैष्णव अपराध कर रहे हो. You know, but here, you know, Krishna is not minding that. And Krishna is just, His Supreme Lord. He is directing every whole world. Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti. Krishna is directing the whole creation. But here he is simply acting as per the direction of Arjun. Can you imagine he is taking such a role of a servant? So even Krishna wants to take the role of a servant and he rejoices in serving his devotees. How much we should rejoice and how much we should relish the role of being servant of devotees. So then please go ahead reading.
Although he had accepted the position of a charioteer for his devotee, his supreme position was not challenged. In all circumstances, he is the supreme personality of Godhead, Rishikesh, the Lord of the total senses. The relationship between the Lord and his servitor is very sweet and transcendental. The servitor is always ready to render service to the Lord, and similarly, the Lord is always seeking an opportunity to render some service to the devotee. He takes greater pleasure in his pure devotees assuming the advantageous position of ordering him than he does in being the giver of orders. Since he is the master, everyone is under his orders, and no one is above him to order him. But when he finds that a pure devotee is ordering him, he obtains transcendental pleasure, although he is the infallible master in all circumstances.
Yeah. So Prabhupada used to say that you are on the lap of Yashoda, Krishna is Supreme Lord. He has, just because he has become a small baby, that doesn't mean that he has become like any other baby, any ordinary baby. Although he has assumed the same form of an ordinary baby, he is doing the same activities, as any other baby does in terms of eating dirt or in terms of crying for food, crying for milk. But he is no more ordinary. He is he is always perfectly transcendental. Similarly, Krishna, although he has become chariot of Arjun, but he is not an ordinary chariot or chariot driver. Hmm? Or he is not an ordinary taxi driver kind of person. That, "Arey, ye bhi aisa hi hai." No, he is always transcendental. His position as Supreme Lord is never challenged. And that's why when required, he was ready to give the supreme instruction to Arjun also. He gave such amazing instructions to Arjun when Arjun was bewildered. So it was not that Krishna is becoming weak और उनका कुछ तो डिमोशन हो गया इसलिए वो चैरियट ड्राइवर बन गए, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि उनका डिमोशन हो गया बेचारे, उनको कुछ जॉब नहीं मिल रहा था कृष्णा को, इसलिए he became a chariot driver. This is not the thing. Why Krishna became chariot driver? Simply out of love for Arjun. This is the only thing. So, just like Prabhupada says this very amazingly, very beautiful statement, that devotee is always eager to render service to Krishna, and Krishna is also always eager to render service to his devotees. So, devotee means he is always wants to serve Krishna. Somehow or other, he is finding out the opportunity to serve Krishna. That's what is devotee. Whereas a materialistic person means this is clear-cut definition. He has no inclination to serve Krishna. He doesn't want to serve Krishna. That is what is materialistic person. As devotee means he is always very, he is, very much eager to how can I serve Krishna. And to such a devotee, Krishna is also very eager to render some service. Krishna is also saying that, "Arey, devotee kuch nahi mang raha hai. I want to do something." Like Prahlad Maharaj, when Narsimhadev came in front of Prahlad Maharaj, Narsimhadev was like kind of doing lot of pressure. He was putting pressure on Prahlad Maharaj. Ask something, ask something. Prahlad is saying, "No, no, I am not a vanik. Not that I am rendering service to get something from you. No, 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 but you ask something. I want to give you something." Isn't it? That's the way Krishna wants, He is also so eager to render some service to his devotees. He always, looking only, ये devotee को मैं कब सेवा करूंगा, कुछ ना कुछ opportunity भगवान को हमेशा, Lord always wants to find out some opportunity to serve devotee. So in this way, this is the spiritual world where there is a attitude of mutual service to each other. There is a service to Krishna, and between the Lord and the devotees there is a mutual service attitude. Both are competing. Both are competing to serve each other. Both are competing to uh, do something good for other. So that's their eagerness. That's what is called as Vaikuntha. Whereas in material world it is opposite. How much I can get best out of the other person for my sense enjoyment. How can I exploit other person? That's what is material world. मेरे लिए ये व्यक्ति क्या करेगा? How can he give me enjoyment? The service attitude is far away. In fact, people in this world, they will take all services from other and they'll not even be grateful. Hmm? And they will not do anything for others. That kind of attitude is found in material world, right? They will say how much I can get from others, as much as I can, I want to get from others, and I don't have to give anything to others. Let them go to hell. Let them suffer. That's the way material world is. Whereas spiritual world is how can I serve? And that's why spiritual world is the place of great bliss. Whenever a person becomes devotee of Krishna, because of this attitude of service, towards Krishna, he feels very, very blissful. Actually, that's why devotee doesn't even want to go to spiritual world also. Hmm? What Lord Kapila says to Devahuti, Salokya Sashti Samipya Sarupya Ekatvam Apyuta Diyamanam na Grindhanti Vinamat Sevanam Jana. Even if I give these 5 kinds of liberation to devotees, they don't accept if I don't give them service. So devotees say what? If there is no service in spiritual world, if I have to just sit there, I don't want to go to spiritual world. Better I'm in material world. And here I would like to do some preaching, I would like to do some services for Krishna. So that's the attitude of a devotee. And why not? Krishna is so much indebted to such a devotee that he was also looking for some opportunity. अरे इनकी कैसे सेवा की जाए? Hmm? So everybody follows, as Prabhupada says, everybody follows Krishna's orders. Krishna is the order giver for everyone. But now here, Krishna becomes the order carrier, not order giver. Hmm? So, and he derives great pleasure in receiving such orders. Hmm? So when Yashoda Mai or Nanda Maharaj, they order Krishna that bring my slippers, bring my our chappal, Krishna very happily carries out such orders. That type of devotion, Krishna so much likes that when a devotee assumes a superior position to him and gives orders to him. Of course, we cannot assume that position as of now. For that, we have to develop pure devotion. So as of now, we should follow the orders of Krishna. Then we should not think that I will also give order to Krishna now. Krishna, give me this. Not that way. So we should follow the orders of Lord. Hmm. So, so although he is supreme Lord, but he renders menial service to devotees, and that's what touches the heart of devotees the most. That although itne bade hai, just imagine, when you see some Maharajas, who are GBCs, temple presidents, but they are coming and doing prasadam serving, and you go in front of them with prasadam plate, and you see, hey, this Maharaj is serving prasadam. Once we were in Chowpati and we saw His Holiness Niranjan Maharaj. He was standing in line to serve prasadam to devotees. Everybody was shocked. Niranjan Maharaj is serving prasadam. Amazing. They were feeling so blessed and so fortunate to receive some little prasadam from him. And they're so happy, isn't it? Why? Because we understand, oh, this person is our master. He is doing a service to us. It is touching to the heart, isn't it? Same way, it is so touching to Arjuna's heart, and also everybody, all over the world, every universe, every devotee's heart. How Krishna, despite being supreme Lord, is rendering service. Hmm? He's just accepting a role of a servant. So that's what is the amazing point about Krishna. Hmm. Okay, please read ahead. Deepak Tour.
As a pure devotee of the Lord, Arjuna had no desire to fight with his cousins and brothers, but he was forced to come onto the battlefield by the obstinacy of Duryodhana, who was never agreeable to any peaceful negotiation. Therefore, he was very anxious to see who the leading persons present on the battlefield were. Although there was no question of a peacemaking endeavor on the battlefield, he wanted to see them again and to see how much they were bent upon demanding an unwanted war.
Yeah. So, of all Krishna's qualities, Bhakta Vatsal quality is most endearing. Now, this paragraph Prabhupada says about how Arjuna is wanted to see who are these people. That's why Senayor Umayor Madhe Pratham Sthapaya Me Achyuta. Is giving order to Krishna. Mera jo chariot hai, bring it in the midst of the army. Hmm. So in this way, Arjun picked up his bow, ready to fight. Though both armies are waiting, and now Arjun suddenly says, "Oh infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies, so that I may see those who are present here." Hmm. Like that. So this Arjun's requests hints that he is already indecisive about taking part in the battle. Hmm. So like that. So let us go to the next verse, 23rd verse. Please recite.
Gaurav Bro.
युद्धेष्म युद्धेष्मान एक शेहम
Yotsyavanaksheham
ये एतातर्षमागत
Samagata
धृतराष्ट्रस्य दुर्बुद्धेर्
धृतराष्ट्रस्य
Dhritarashtrasya
यद्ये प्रिया चिकित्सया
Yodhe
युद्धे
Priyachikersava.
Translation. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra.
Yes, please read it also.
Perfect. It was an open secret that Duryodhan wanted to uh, usurp the kingdom of the Pandavas by evil plan in collaboration with his father, Dhritarashtra. Therefore, all person who has joined the side of Duryodhana must have been bird of the same feather. Arjuna wanted to see them on the battlefield before the fight was begun, just to learn who they were, but he had no intentions of proposing peace negotiations with them. It was also a fact that he wanted to see them to make an estimate of the strength which he had to face, although he was quite confident of victory because Krishna was sitting by his side.
Yeah. Okay, so next verse, 24th verse is this side.
Himanshu Pro.
Yes, Push. Sanjay Uvacho
Sanjay Uvacha
evam yukto hrishikesho
Evam Mukto Rishikesho
Gudokeshana Bharata
Gudakesh.
Bharata.
Senayor Ubhayar Madhye
Snehayorubayurmadhe
Stapayativa Rathottamam.
Sthapayitvarathottamam.
Translation. Sanjay said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both the parties. Shall I read the purport?
Not required, yeah. So here we see that Prabhupada says in the purport that Arjun is referred, another name of Arjun is Gudakesha. The meaning of word Gudakesha is one who conquers, who has conquered over the sleep. So two meanings, one who has conquered over the sleep and one who has conquered over ignorance, because sleep is a mode of ignorance. So we see in general to conquer over sleep is very difficult. Sometimes on a Nirjala Ekadashi day, we may even fast from grains and water, isn't it? We can fast from grains and water, but to fast from sleep is very tough. Have you observed that? Can we give up sleep for 2-3 days? Very difficult. Isn't it? We may give up eating. We may do fasting. Some devotees do fasting on every Ekadashi. But sleeping to give up is not so easy, right? But Arjun was so powerful that that's why can't we now appreciate Arjun? कि क्या power है व्यक्ति में, isn't it? Actually, such people are our heroes, who have conquered over sleep. Why do we make such people as heroes who are simply the dolls in the hands of senses, who are simply the servants of their senses? Such people are not heroes. These people like Arjun, these are our heroes actually, because they are able to control the sleep. They are able to control their senses. Such a difficult task they are able to accomplish, isn't it? And also conquered over ignorance, like that. So, Prabhupada says that why he could do so? Because of his friendship with Krishna, because he was devotee of Krishna. So, as a devotee of Krishna, says, he not Krishna even for a moment. And where there is Krishna, there is no question of ignorance. Krishna Surya Sama, Maya hai andhakar, Jaha Krishna taha nahi, Maya radhikar. Okay? Where Krishna is there, ignorance cannot stay. Maya cannot stay. Maya hai andhakar. So ignorance, the darkness of ignorance cannot stay where there is Krishna present. So because Krishna was always present in the heart of Arjun, means what? Arjun was always remembering Krishna. So there was no question of any ignorance. And that's why there is no, he was not controlled by sleep. Doesn't mean that he would never sleep, but he was not controlled by sleep actually. So he could sleep at his will. He could abstain from sleeping at his will. So that also is very difficult, right? Sometimes during the class we may not want to sleep, but we fall sleepy. Isn't it? That means we are controlled by sleep. Nidra Devi is controlling us. But Arjun was not like that. He was fully, his sleep was fully in his control. So there is one very beautiful pastime comes that when Prabhu tells this also, that when once this after the battle in the Kurukshetra, this one of the day in the evening, Bhima, he got up in the night and he just wanted to drink some water. So he came out of his tent and he was surprised to see that Krishna was walking somewhere. And he said, "Hey Krishna, where are you going?" Krishna said, "Shh," like that. And then he saw that Krishna is entering into Arjuna's tent. And then Bhima also followed him. And slowly, somehow, Yudhishthir, Arjun, Yudhishthir, Nakul, Sahadev, all of them came also. And they are saying, Krishna, what is going on? Now is not the time for chariot driving. Why are you going, in the camp of Arjun? If you want to discuss some plans of fighting, you can do it in the morning time, early morning time you can do. What is in the dead of the night, why you have to go? But Krishna was just saying, no, no. He was like shutting everybody, and he was telling that, Arjun is sleeping, his sleep should not be disturbed. And then they saw that amazingly Krishna went in front of Arjun's bed and he was just touching various bodily portions of Arjun where there were deep wounds, and by his Amruta Hasta he was just immediately healing all the wounds of Arjun. And everybody was surprised, इतना रात में इतना भगवान को इतना क्या हो गया कि he is going to the tent of Arjun and doing this. So Yudhishthir Maharaj asked, why are you doing so much? Why you had to take out such a trouble that you are giving up your sleep, your rest, and you are coming and like this doing. So Krishna told Bhima that you come near, and he told you put your ear on the hand of Arjun, and from the hand of Arjun the sound was coming, Krishna, 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 Krishna. They said you put your ear on the chest of Arjun, and from the chest of Arjun sound was coming, Krishna, 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 Krishna. So you put your ear in the leg of Arjun, and from the leg of Arjun the sound was coming, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Then everybody was amazed. Oh, Arjun is so Krishna conscious. so, so Krishna said, so Arjun is so much of always calling me, he's always chanting my names. How can I not come? How can I be separated? If he's always chanting my name, how can I be separated from Arjun? How is it possible? So in this way, we can understand that because Arjun was always fully conscious of Krishna, so that's why there was no question of ignorance for him. And such an amazing personality, actually, isn't it? Such a great devotee of the Lord. So generally, we know Arjun as a warrior, as a skilled personality, but many times his devotional aspect is neglected. He was such a great devotee also of the Lord. That's what is more of his qualification. Certainly, he was certainly the best of the archers, one of the best, person who can fight on the battlefield. But his devotional aspect is also very, very prominent. He is the best of the devotees also. So that is the name. That's why the name, significant name is Gudakesha. Gudaka Isha means one who has conquered over sleep. So that's what Prabhupada says. Either in the waking or in sleep, a devotee of the Lord can never free from thinking of Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes. So one devotee asked, so this is another meaning of conquering the sleep. Conquering a sleep means even if somebody is sleeping, he is still Krishna conscious. Means what? He is not in ignorance. Even in the
Bintu, मैसेज भेजा आपको एक.
Hari Bol, please mute yourself. So even in the sleep, he is not coming into ignorance. He is fully Krishna conscious. That means he is actually highly awakened. Even in the apparently the person is sleeping. So that's how even in the sleep, devotees cannot forget Krishna. So one devotee asked Prabhupada that how can we remember Krishna while sleeping? Prabhupada said, first of all, remember Krishna while you are awake. Then you can think about remembering Krishna when you are sleeping. And that's a fact, because if you are practiced to remember Krishna when we are awake, automatically, we will remember Krishna when we are asleep also. Because soul is never asleep. Soul is always awake. And that's what is called as samadhi. Samadhi means being always Krishna conscious. And Krishna's name is here Rishikesha, again the director of the senses and mind of every living entity. So Krishna's name is Rishikesha, and Arjun's name is Budakesha, like that. So here Prabhupada says that Krishna could understand the purpose of Arjuna, why he's telling him to draw his chariot amidst the armies. So Krishna knows everything. So it will come in the further verse also. Okay, so please recite verse number 25.
Karthik Pro.
Which verse?
25.
25. Yeah, sure. भीष्मद्रोण प्रमुखतः
Bhishma
Drona Pramukta
सर्वेषां च महिषितम्
Sarvesham
उवाच पार्थ पश्यैतान्
Parthapashetan
समवेतान् कुरुनिति
Samavetan Kuruniti.
Translation. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all the other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, "Just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here."
Yeah. So these are the first words Krishna is speaking in Bhagavad Gita. First word Krishna is speaking in Bhagavad Gita, what? Pashyaitan, Partha Pashyaitan Samavetan Kurun. Hey Partha, Pashyaitan, please see Samavetan Kurus, the Kurus who are assembled here. Please see them, behold them. So these are the first words coming from the lotus mouth of Krishna. So in the purport, Prabhupada says that Krishna is situated in the heart of every day as Paramatma, and he can understand you very well. We cannot hide anything from Super Soul. Nobody knows us as much as the Super Soul knows Paramatma. इतना हमको कोई भी नहीं आता, हम भी खुद को इतना नहीं जानते जितना परमात्मा हमको जानते हैं. So Krishna could easily understand that Arjun is getting little bit bewildered, is getting carried by the weakness. So what is going on in the mind of Arjun, Krishna could understand. So that's why his name is Rishikesha again here. Why? Because he is the knower of everything. Because ultimately mind is also one of the senses, right? So 10 senses plus mind, 11 senses. So Krishna is the master of the mind also. So he can understand what is going on in the mind of his devotee. So he purposefully calls the name of Arjuna as Partha, who is son of Prutha, his auntie. So he says that I agreed to become your charioteer because you are my relative also. You are my uncle's Mamaji's son. Like that. Vasudeva was Mamaji of Bua's son. You are my Bua's son. So Vasudeva was Mamaji of our Arjun. So you have become Bua's son. So that's why I am become charioteer of yourself. So Krishna never expected that Arjun will not fight. He did not want Arjun to do such kind of things. So it was a friendly dealing. So although there were hundreds and millions of warriors were in Kuru armies, yet, Acharya says that Krishna purposefully drove Arjun's chariot directly in front of Bhishma and Drona. When Arjun is telling, bring me, in midst of two armies were like this assembled. So he could have taken anywhere in the two armies, but he purposefully draw in front of Bhishma and Drona, like that. And in this way, Bhishma Drona Pramukataha. So in this way, Krishna forced Arjun to see that both his grandfather and his guru were determined to oppose him. So Krishna's purpose was that देखो opposite side में don't become weakened. They are becoming your enemies. You don't become weakened like that. But then also Krishna knew, because Krishna is in our heart, so he knows what we are. So Krishna knew that Arjun was feeling little attachment towards Bhishma and Drona, and he wanted to bring out that attachment from Arjun so that Bhagavad Gita will be spoken ahead. So in this way, Krishna was teasing Arjun in a friendly way. It is only Kurus on both sides who are assembled. दोनों साइड में जो है वो कुरुज ही है सब आपके ही लोग हैं इधर आजू बाजू में like that. So Srila Baladev Vidyavishwan says that Krishna jokingly implied, what is the use of you looking at enemy's army? क्या देखने का क्या जरूरत है? Fighting चालू होने वाला है, करो fighting. Why you are unnecessarily looking at enemy's army? So in this way, Krishna affirms the thoughts in Arjun's mind, like that. So and Sanjay is describing this whole scene to Dhritarashtra. Okay, so next verse, 26th verse, please recite.
Karuna Brajesh.
तत्र पार्श्वस्थितान् पार्थान्
पश्यतस्तान् पार्थः
पितॄन् आर्थ पितामह आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रात्रान्
आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रात्रान्
पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखींस्तथा
पुत्रान्
पौत्रान् सखीं तथा
स्वासुरान् सुहृदश्चैव सेनयोरुभयोरपि There Arjuna could see within the midst of the armies of both parties his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his father-in-laws and well-wishers.
Yeah, so Prabhupada is giving the names also. Who are Pitrus? Pitrus are fathers, Purishrava. Then who are Pitamahan? Pitamahan grandfathers, that is Bhishma and Somadatta. Who are Acharyas? Teachers, Dronacharya and Krupacharya. Who are Matulan? Maternal uncles, Shalya and Shakuni. Gandhari was also like mother only, na? So he is also Matulan, Mama. Then who are Bhratrun? Brothers, Duryodhana, Vikarna, Dushasana and others, all Kauravas. Who are Putran? Sons, Lakshmana, Kumara and others. Now here sons means Bhai ke bete. They are also like sons only. Na? Nephews are also like sons. So Lakshmana was also one of the name of Duryodhana's son. And Kumara was another son, like that. So where different putras. Pautras, grandsons, the sons of Duryodhana and others. They were also there. Sakims, friends. Ashwathama was a friend. How? In Gurukul. Dronacharya Gurukul they studied together. Na? So Ashwathama was friend of these people also. Pandavas also, right? And then Shashuram, fathers-in-law, Drupada. Then Surdash, well-wishers, Kritavarma. So all these things, various categories of people are there. Prabhupada mentions who are there. Several categories are mentioned by but Prabhupada is mentioning very specific personalities also in the purport. So seeing all these above categories of people, Arjuna was overwhelmed by compassion and he spoke ahead. So yeah. Okay, next verse.
Lalit Prabhu.
तान् समीक्ष्य स कौन्तेय
समीक्षस्य कौन्तेय
सर्वान् बन्धूनवस्थितान्
सर्वान्
कृपया परयाविष्टो विषीदन्निदमब्रवीत्
इदमब्रवीत्
Translation.
When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all the different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus.
Yeah. So this is the, now Arjun is starting to get bewildered. That is this thing. So Krishna had driven Arjun's chariot so that Arjun is face to face with Bhishma and Drona actually. Arjun, Drona and Bhishma को face कर रहे थे, and we can understand that it is by Krishna's arrangement that Arjun, on the verge of fighting, perhaps even killing his respected grandfather Bhishma, and his military guru Drona is feeling compassion now. Krupaya. Krupaya paraya vishto. Krupaya means out of compassion. So out of compassion, Arjun is feeling now weak. He is not feeling like fighting. So now, so 27th verse onwards, there are the reasons Arjun is going to give, which not to fight on the battlefield. Arjun is going to give now the reasons. So there are 5 reasons uh, which are going to come. What arguments Arjun is going to give to Krishna for not fighting. So first reason is compassion. So he had a deep compassion for his relatives, friends, and those who are assembled uh, to fight. He doesn't want to kill his loved ones. We can really sympathize, right? Isn't it? Just imagine this thing on the this thing. Just imagine on the battlefield in the court. Suppose we have to go, and one has to, if our own relative is kind of our relative is kind of, you know guilty of some wrong act. So if we are, and we are the one who are witness of it, will we be able to give right witness? Very difficult, right? Very tough. So we can understand, how much, you know, is to kill one's own grandfather is really tough, right? There are people who kill their father, they kill their mother, there are people who kill their grandfather, but no gentlemanly person can feel like killing his grandfather, isn't it? At least in our Vedic culture, we respect and we bow down to grandfather, we bow down to teacher, we respect them. Even if they chastise us very harshly, still we respect them. That's our Vedic culture. So Arjun was brought up in a Vedic culture. He was not of the what you say, cannibal culture wherein they kill their own father, mother, grandfather, grandmother. ऐसे culture से नहीं आए थे अर्जुन. So it's natural, right? Very tough to fight with such a person, who has showered so much love on you since your childhood, who has taught you everything. Such a grandfather, and you have to kill him now. And the teacher also is so much respect because you have learnt everything from him only. How can we kill? Isn't it such a teacher? So this was a compassion. Second reason is enjoyment. So this is a less noble reason. So Arjun says that, even if we become victorious, but because nobody will be there to enjoy with, so we will not get any enjoyment because all people will be died. So whom we will enjoy, whom do we will make some show off? Because कुछ enjoy करने के लिए भी साथ में कोई तो चाहिए ना. Like, if we become a topper in the college, so unless until we share with others, that is no much, if nobody is there to tell that I have become topper, we don't feel any joy into it. The second reason was this enjoyment. If there will be nobody to enjoy. Third one is destruction of family, because so many great Kshatriyas will be destroyed, and then the woman will remain unprotected, and there will be Varna Sankaras. And in this way, there won't be any Vedic ritual performed, and in this way, everybody will glide down to hell. That was the third reason. Fourth reason is fear of sinful reactions. He says killing grandfather, killing one's own relatives is also sinful. And with that, so if we kill so many people, then there will be sinful reactions which will come to us. So even our enjoyment, victory will not be very joyful for us because it is tainted with sinful reactions. We see Arjuna was very well knew that even if we gain things by a sinful way, you know, there cannot be any happiness. Like some people may earn money in a sinful way, so they may have money, but they will not have happiness. That's the concept. If irreligiously earned wealth, property, victory, position, we may have them, but they cannot give us happiness. So that was the very important point of Arjun. So There is no, if we are killing our own family and friends, then there will be sinful reaction. So this is fourth reason. Fifth reason is indecision. He is thinking that is it better to be conquer them or better to be conquered by them? On one side, we want to fight also because it is our duty to fight as a Kshatriya. On another side, but I have to fight with my own relatives and I don't feel like fighting also. In this way, he was in um, indecision. After all, the kingdom is flourishing under Duryodhan's rule. It's not that there is some drought or there is some kind of scarcity. Duryodhan's rule, things were very nicely going on. So what is why to fight at all? Why to unnecessarily fight? Things are fine going on. Why should millions of people die just to enthrone Duryodhan and his and his family, and somehow just to enthrone Yudhishthir and dethrone Duryodhan? Why to unnecessarily make so much of killing? So that was his indecision. So in this way, Arjun has become soft-hearted and compassionate and logical. He knows Shastras. He's not simply a warrior. He's very well aware of the Shastras. And he's cultured. He's respectful. How he's cultured? Because he's respectful towards whom? His superiors. He's respectful towards his superiors. He's affectionate towards his relatives. And he's intelligent. So because of all these good qualities, now his heart is breaking when he sees on the front side his own relatives and friends gathered. So this is 27th verse. Now Arjun is going to speak. What are the things he's feeling? His feelings he's going to express. So 28th verse. Please recite 28th verse.
मंदार प्रभु.
दृष्टवेमं स्वजनं कृष्ण
Let us start from Arjuna.
ओके अर्जुन उवाच दृष्ट्वेमं स्वजनं कृष्ण युत्सं समुपस्थिताम्
युषं समुपस्थितं
सिदन्ति मम गात्राणि
सिद्धन्ते मम गात्राणि
मुखां च परिशुष्यति
मुखं च परिशुष्यति.
Translation. Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up.
Yeah. So with this 27th verse, the fourth section of this chapter ends saying Arjuna observed the armies. And 28th onwards till 46th verse, the fifth section is Arjun's reasons not to fight. What are the different reasons Arjun is giving not to fight? So that are from this particular verse till 46th verse. So in the purport, so he is saying, Krishna is telling that Siddhanti mama gatrani, Arjun is saying, Siddhanti mama gatrani, my limbs are quivering. Mukham cha parishushyati, my mouth is getting dried up, not due to thirst, but due to fear, due to bewilderment, like that. Now in the purport, we see that Prabhupada says that there are demoniac people and there are devoted people, godly people. So yeah, Prabhupada says that a materialistic person, non-devotee, he may be very much advanced in material qualification, but he lacks godly qualities. So Prabhupada at the end is quoting Shastri Bhakti verse from Bhagavatam, wherein a devotee, he actually develops all good qualities. So that is a symptom of a devotee. That means a devotee cannot be a cheater. Devotee is honest. Devotee cannot be rude. Devotee is very soft-hearted. He is very sweet spoken personality. A devotee cannot be cruel. He is very compassionate. So all these good qualities devotees develop because of their being a devotee. One who becomes a devotee, he develops all good qualities of demigods like that. So Prabhupada is saying that Arjun, it is not that Arjun has become weak, but naturally being a devotee, Arjun is compassionate because this is a quality of devotee. Devotee never wants to harm anyone. He never wants to trouble anyone, either verbally or physically. What to speak of physically? Even verbally, he doesn't want to harm. So we see Haridas Thakur such a great example, isn't it? Although these executioners were beating him, but he did not want any harm to do to them. So Arjun was also a similar mindset actually. Arjun was also a great devotee and he didn't want to harm anybody. He was very compassionate, just like Haridas Thakur even prayed. Lord Jesus Christ prayed for those who were killing him. So Arjun was also having similar heart, very very soft heart, very compassionate heart. Hmm. So Prabhupada says, although it is not mentioned, but Arjun was also crying out of compassion. So there is not mention of crying, but it is can be very easily understood. So that's what is the. So Prabhupada says that so symptoms of Arjun were not due to weakness, but due to his soft-heartedness, which is a characteristic of pure devotee. So that's the nature of pure devotee, that he's always soft-hearted. He's always very compassionate towards others. So Arjun being pure devotee, naturally he felt compassion. Okay, 29th verse, please recite.
Mayuresh Prabhu.
वेपयुच्च शरीर में
शरीरे में
रोमहर्षश्च जायते
रोमहर्षश्च जायते
गाण्डीवं शस्त्रते हस्ता
गाण्डीवं शस्त्रते
त्योक्चैव परिदाह्यते
त्वच्चैव परिदह्यते.
Can I read ahead translation, Broji?
Yes.
My whole body is trembling, my hairs is standing on end, my bow gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. Purport. There are two kinds of trembling of body and two kinds of standings of air and on end. Such phenomenon occur either in great spiritual ecstasy or out of great fear under material condition. There is no fear in transcendental realization. Arjuna's symptoms in this situation are out of material fear, namely loss of life. This is evident from other symptoms also. He becomes so impatient that his famous bow Gandiva was slipping from his hands. And because his heart was burning within him, he was feeling a burning sensation of the skin. All these are due to material conception of life.
Yeah. So again, the continuing Arjun is continuing to discuss his various bodily symptoms, and Prabhupada says in the purport that some of these symptoms are like symptoms of ecstasy also. Isn't it? Even in ecstasy, there is standing of the hair on the body, there is choking of the mouth, isn't it? And there is a trembling. So such phenomenon occur in either great ecstasy or in terms of great fear. So great ecstasy is in mode of pure goodness. Fear is in mode of ignorance. Exactly 180-degree opposite. But दोनों के symptoms similar है. So here Prabhupada is saying that here Arjun is not. He could have, because he is a pure devotee, so he could have manifested these symptoms otherwise out of ecstasy. But here Arjun is not manifesting these symptoms out of ecstasy. Here Arjun is manifesting symptoms out of fear, out of some material fear, namely loss of life. Loss of whose life? Not his own life. Loss of his relative's life. He's not afraid of losing his own life, right? He's afraid of losing his relative's life. So, yeah. So Prabhupada says this is due to material conception of life. Arjun was thinking from a bodily point of view. These are my relatives. These are my this that. So whole thing calculation was based on body, material conception. And if you see all further things, you see they're all on uh, material stage only. Which Arjun is talking all the things, and that's why he's experiencing such symptoms. Okay, 30th verse, please recite.
मितेश प्रभु.
न च शोक्यम् अवस्थातुं भीमतत्त्व च मे मम निमितानि च पश्यन्तं विपरीतानि केशव. Guruji, I can read.
Yes, translation.
Translation. I am now unavailable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only the cause of unfortunate, O Krish, misfortunate, O Krishna, the killer of Kesh, demon.
Yeah. So now, Prabhupada says in the purport, due to his impatience, Arjuna was unable to stay even on the battlefield, and he was even forgetting due to weakness of the mind. So you have observed one amazing thing. What two purports before Prabhupada said? What he said? Why Arjuna doesn't want to fight? Compassion. Prabhupada clearly says it was not due to weakness, but due to compassion. And in this purport, what Prabhupada is saying? It is due to weakness. Isn't it amazing, no? Both ways Prabhupada is saying. So, these are the basically understanding given from different angles. From different angles, Prabhupada is explaining. That's the expertise of an acharya, that he can speak from the various angles. So, what is this weakness now? The weakness is excessive attachment for material things. So because of being too much materially attached, person becomes weak-hearted. So further also it will come. When Arjuna is surrendered to Krishna, he says, Karpanya dosha, Hridaya Daurbalya, Karpanya dosha. So all these words come, means there is a weakness of heart. What is that weakness of heart which is coming due to material attachment? Not able to decide right things from wrong because of, because of weakness. Even though sometimes we may know what right, but we don't do that right because of our material attachment. We know that we should practice devotional service nicely. We should follow the orders of superiors. We should follow the orders of guru. We should follow instructions of scriptures. We know these things, but why we can't follow them? Because of material attachments, and that's what is happening with Arjuna. He knows that his duty of fighting was awaiting for him, and that is something which is good for him also. That is what is something recommended for him. But due to material attachments, he is becoming weak-hearted. So this weak-heartedness basically means, of course, it will come ahead also, unable to do right things despite knowing them, especially. That is weak-heartedness. And the reason for such weak-heartedness is material attachment. So Prabhupada says that fearfulness and loss of mental equilibrium take place in persons who are too affected by material conditions. So those who are materially attached, they become very much affected by material conditions. So they are afraid, I may lose this, I may lose that. That is a fear. So Prabhupada is quoting a verse from Bhagavatam, Bhayam Dvitiyat Abhiniveshatasya. Why there is fear? Because of abhinivesha means absorption in matter. If one thinks himself that I am this matter, then there is a fear that I will lose something material. Whereas for spirit soul, there is nothing to lose. Your spirit soul is eternal. His all assets are eternal. There is nothing to lose. But because of material attachments, material absorption, one becomes afraid. And that's how that fear makes one lose mental equilibrium. One feels very, very disturbed. very much that peace of mind totally goes away because of such fear. So Arjun saw that he could see only reverses. He could see that nimittani viparitani, सब विपरीत होने वाला है. That's what Arjun was thinking. कुछ अच्छा नहीं होगा ये सब. Fighting करने से कुछ अच्छा नहीं होने वाला है. That's what he was thinking. And that's why Prabhupada says that he was in frustration in his expectations, and he's thinking, why I'm here? Like that he's thinking, why I'm here assembled to fight? This battlefield is not going to give any positive result. It's all going to give negative result only. You see how negative Arjun is becoming, isn't it? अभी तक युद्ध चालू भी नहीं हुआ, but Arjun is going in such negative direction. So first step is material attachment. Next step is weakness of the heart. Next step is bewilderment in the mind. The mind has lost things, and then a mental equilibrium is lost, and then person is not able to, person is frustrated, and then he's even doubting whether he's doing right or not. So Prabhupada says that Arjun is showing an ignorance of his real self-interest. So what is the real self-interest? Nate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnu durashayaye bhirarthamanina. Prahlad Maharaj says real self-interest of every living entity, real happiness of every living entity is in what? In actually serving Krishna. Usme sabka swarth hai, but living entity doesn't understand what is his swartha also. Even if somebody says that I want to be swarthi, but you don't know what is your swartha, and that's how he comes into big trouble. So swartha of living entity actually is in service of Krishna, actually rendering devotional service of the Lord. So swartha of Arjun was actually in following the orders of Krishna. Swartha of Arjun was actually winning this battle and becoming victorious, because further it will come, as it will come further, there were so many signs of victories. So many signs of victory were there for Arjun. So he should have felt confident of victory also. So things were on his favor already. He was with Krishna. So everything was auspicious, everything was perfect. He was doing everything as per the will of Krishna. So this fighting, this battle on will of Krishna was his actually swartha, but he was acting against his own swartha. And he was trying to do so-called niswartha bhavana, which will come ahead. His so-called niswartha bhavana, he will explain ahead, like that. So main reason, the last line Prabhupada says in the purport that conditioned soul forgetting his real self-interest lies in Vishnu. He forgets this and therefore suffers material pains. So all material pains are suffered because of this, because of not understanding that my real self-interest is in rendering service to Krishna. So Arjun is thinking opposite. He is thinking what? My self-interest is in going away. So these words, nimittani and viparitani, they are very significant. So Prabhupada translates nimittani as causes and viparitani as just the opposite. So Arjun is thinking that the very event he fears will necessarily occur, and he thinks that battle will simply cause this battle will simply bring out such outcomes which are opposite of my desires. My desire is to be happy, things should come positively, but this battle is going to bring all negative things, like that. So in this way, in the purport, Prabhupada is analyzing the faults in the reasoning of Arjun, who is representing all the conditioned souls. So we may view Arjun's lamentation, but predict that he'll be victorious. Why? Because Krishna is on his side. So certainly Arjun is lamenting, but certainly Krishna is on his side. So sure shot is going to be victorious. But then Arjun is thinking that he's not going to go to heavenly planets. Why? Because those whom he kills, they are going to go to heavenly planets. So, but at least he may win the kingdom. But sometimes, Arjun is thinking that, if he win a kingdom, then along with that kingdom, so much sinful reaction will come. Whereas opposite party people, they will die on battlefield, they'll go to Swarga. So they are in more advantageous position than me. Here I have got kingdom only on the earth planet. They have got to heavens. So they have got better enjoyment. Also, my earthly enjoyment is also surrounded by a lot of sinful reactions, which are going to give misery also. I'll not be happy also. So who will be really happy? Even if I become victorious, they are going to be happy. Why? Because they are going to go to heavens. They will be dying. They'll go to heavens and they'll enjoy more happiness. But here I am there. I'll get a kingdom, but I'll suffer, isn't it? Because I'll keep on all the time thinking, "Arey, because of me, so many people died." All that, so many sinful reactions will come. So that's what is, so that's how Arjun is considering only how the battle will affect him, and he sees only result opposite to his desires. And in this way, he loses all the desire to fight. Arjun is losing all the desire to fight. So it will come in the next verse also. How he's telling there is no use of such fighting. It's all the inauspicious way to fight. It's all going to bring inauspicious. That's what he's going to say. Okay, so we will stop here for today. Our time is up and we'll meet tomorrow and we'll continue. We'll see if we can complete the chapter tomorrow. It seems little difficult, but let's see. If possible, we can try to complete. Because we have already covered 30 verses, more 16 verses are remaining. So let's see if we can complete. So thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad Gita ki Krishna
Jai.
Bhagavan.
Jai.
Can we ask questions also?
Yeah, you can ask them. Those who want to carry on, they can carry on. But those who want, I am available to answer.
Here one point is coming that Prabhupada told that Arjuna is devotee, and the natural feeling of the devotee is that he should be very compassionate and he should not be trouble to the others. So that is natural property of the devotee. But second point is there, even this situation will be there, but Krishna does not tell him that you will be compassionate, you will be fight for the reason. So understand, Prabhuji, that in our situation,
Anil, to your last line.
first line will be there that Arjuna is a devotee. Last line is that even after he should be compassionate, devotee nature should be compassionate, but Krishna does not tell him that you should be compassionate only and you should not fight. Krishna told that you will be fight, even you will be compassionate by your own nature. So the same point coming to the devotee's nature, when where to be understand that this compassionate nature should be shown, or where should be more very strict?
Yeah, very good question. The point is that first of all, we should be asking that where do we understand that where should we be compassionate? One side, Prabhupada is also telling that Arjuna is fighting out of compassion. He's not fighting out of compassion. And another side is telling, no, Krishna doesn't want like that. So first of all, one should know what is compassion. If you don't know properly what is compassion, then that such kind of administration of compassion will be weak-heartedness. And the classic example of this is who showed false.
Bharat Maharaj.
Prabhupada speaks about Draupadi from both angles also.
Bharat Maharaj.
Bharat Maharaj, yes, Bharat Maharaj showed compassion, unnecessary compassion to deer. So that's why one of the points there is mentioned that Bharat Maharaj, he was alone in the forest and he did not. That's why there was nobody to correct him and guide him. So that's why association of devotees, especially those who are superior to us, is very important for us to know what is the right thing and what is the wrong thing. How much to go, how much is our adhikar also in compassion. Okay, how much to show compassion. Like a devotee says, I will also go to bar and preach. Or some devotee says, I'll go to girls' college and preach. Why you preach in girls' college? Let Mataji's preach in girls' college. So one may say, I want to show compassion towards these girls, but that's not in our adhikar, right? Prabhupada said that even if you surround me with naked women, I'll still not fall down. And that's why Prabhupada could do preaching to anybody and show compassion to anybody because he was having that much strength also. So our compassion also depends on our strength, our adhikar. It also depends on the right definition of compassion. So compassion is sometimes seen only on a superficial scale. Here, Arjun's compassion is totally on the bodily platform. He's not understanding that these people are all going to die in front of Krishna and they'll go back to Godhead. isn't it? So, so that type of compassion. So there is Prabhupada's example also, na, that once this brother had got typhoid and he was suffering, and mother was not at home. So then brother was crying, I want something to eat. And the sister said, oh, wait for the mother to come. No, I want now only. And she asked, what do you want, brother? Fried pakoras. They are there. And fried pakoras are deadly, but she is feeling compassion for the brother. And she gives that pakoras. So is it appropriate compassion? No. It's a compassion against the interest of a person, isn't it? So when to administer a compassion, that's why it has to be guided well by Guru Sadhu Shastra. Without guidance of Guru Sadhu Shastra, if one administers a compassion, that compassion may not lead to something very positive. And we see so many examples. Rajamru tells that there was one person, he said, I am so compassionate. I am feeding chicken to everyone, free of cost. I am giving the charity of chicken in their food for life. He's not a devotee, he was a new person. So Rajamru said, my God, this is social work or social anti, this is anti-social work actually. It is destroying. He said, what is the problem? They are hungry, so they want some food, so I'm giving them chicken to eat. Okay, their hunger will be satisfied, but so much sinful reaction, they will remain hungry for lifetimes by doing so, showing such a compassion. So it's not appropriate compassion. Raishamru told him then, oh, this is not appropriate things. They are eating chicken, they will get so much sinful reaction out of it. So you cannot give chicken. You want to give, you give Krishna Prasadam to them. So in this way, first of all, that's why there should be a proper knowledge of what is right compassion, what is appropriate compassion. And also there is a definition, we should know how to show this compassion appropriately. For that, we require a guidance from Vaishnavas, we require Guru Sadhu Shastra's guidance. With that, when the compassion is given, then it becomes appropriate. So Krishna, further he is speaking so much about we should not be violent. But here Krishna wants Arjun to be violent. Imagine our leaders, they show a lot of compassion on terrorists. They say, oh, poor terrorists, we should not kill them. Is it appropriate compassion? No, because that is not good for the terrorist also. If he is not given punishment, that terrorist will continue to do his wrong activities. And also, compassion on him will destroy so many others. What about compassion on them? Why not to be compassionate on others? Isn't it? So in this way, there has to be right compassion, right conception of compassion. Is that all right, Anil?
Yes, Pooja. Yes, Pooja. Pooja, regarding to that only some following point that here the Arjuna trying to killing his parents or relatives. So you told that it is very difficult. Arjuna is following Vedic culture, so he cannot kill. The etiquettes will be there, should not be killed. So coming to our devotee situation or some situation where the parents are so much opposing for anything, not to killing but opposing for anything. So in that type of situation, devotee, what step devotee have to be take?
Okay, so certainly we see that Arjun and Yudhishthir Maharaj's behavior was very nice in the battlefield. Despite they're on opposite side, we see that what Duryodhana is doing is taunting Dronacharya. He is trying to poke Dronacharya, right? We saw last to last class like that. On the other hand, before beginning the battle, there were two arrows came at the feet. One arrow was at the feet of Bhishma, another arrow was at the feet of Drona. And that what was that arrow? That was arrow coming from Yudhishthir. That means he was bowing down to Bhishma and Drona. So Bhishma said, so automatically Bhishma Dev uttered the blessings. May you be victorious. Duryodhana did not do any of these things. He is simply causing poking. So although he is fighting on the opposite side, Yudhishthir Maharaj was so cultured that he sought the blessings. And we see afterwards also, that Arjun and all, their treatment to Bhishma and Drona is not, this thing, not a rude treatment, but they are just doing their duty. So same way in dealing with parents also, first of all, we should be very good and cultured in our behavior with them. We should be very affectionate towards them. We should be grateful towards them. So Arjun here is having all these things, but at the same time, we should do things in such a way that, first of all, we should try to do things in such a way that their opposition will be subdued. They won't like to oppose us. So if His Holiness Bhakti Bhagavad Maharaj was telling that, one devotee asked this question that my father is opposing so much in my Krishna consciousness. So what should I do? Bhakti Bhagavad Maharaj told that first of all you show that how as a devotee you have become better son. First of all you show that as a devotee you have become a better son. You have become more loving son. You have become more affectionate son. And at the same time, so this will naturally douse. This will naturally suppress their any opposition if they feel. At the same time, devotees should know that we should not give up our dharma or our practices because of some opposition from parents. We should firmly practice them. And in case there is so much opposition, we can find out ways and means to do it. Like sometimes parents are not so supportive. Then they may not chant all the round in front of parents. They may go to some nearby temple or go to terrace or lock themselves in a room and chant. So, but just because parents are opposing, just because parents are not liking what we are doing, that cannot uh, make us give up devotional service. That is not appropriate. That is then weakness of heart. That will become a weakness of heart. That will become a blind attachment. That will form a blind attachment. So that's why devotee should be intelligent enough in such a way not to agitate the parents, try to make them slowly favorable. At the same time, continue our devotional service in the best possible manner. Not to give up our devotional service just because parents are not approving of it. Because we'll see that slowly the parents will also understand, that no, what he's doing is right. They have got some misunderstanding sometimes. They have got some kind of misconceptions, and that's why they may be opposing. But when their concepts are cleared, when their misunderstanding is cleared, then they will not oppose. They will favor also. So devotee should not give up his Krishna consciousness just because parents are opposing. He should try to do. So once His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj was asking that, Maharaj, my parents are not allowing me to practice devotional service. What should I do? Maharaj said, Radha Krishna are supreme parents. What about these parents, Radha Krishna? They are your eternal parents. So you don't want to please them. You don't want to follow. You don't want to serve them. What about these supreme parents? They are your eternal parents, for eternity. Do you not want to listen to them and follow their instructions? Like that. So devotees should make a very balanced approach, not to antagonize parents unnecessarily, try to make them favorable, being respectful towards them, very cultured in their behavior, in our behavior with them. Actually, Prahlad Maharaj, no parent can be as bad as Hiranyakashipu, right? Is anybody's parents as bad as Hiranyakashipu? Is anybody putting you in the oil, burning oil, or any parent is putting you, throwing you from this thing, mountain or something? No parents are doing. So Prahlad Maharaj, despite his father doing like this with him, he was so respectful. Whenever he was coming in front of his father, he was going down to him. So one way actually Hiranyakashipu's heart was melting also. He was having tears also by seeing Prahlad. So he's so nice, isn't it? He's so good in their behavior. So we have to follow Prahlad Maharaj's example. That we have our behavior should be very respectful and very great attitude of gratefulness should be also there towards them. At the same time, we should not be blinded by material attachment and forego our spiritual duties, give up our spiritual duties. Okay? Yes.
Thank you, Pooja.
Hare Krishna. So we'll end here.
I think Arjun Sarthi bro wants to ask something.
Arjun Sarthi bro, you can answer what asking.
No. Whenever it comes to non-devotee dealings or where it is very black and white, we understand where to apply compassion and where not to. But when it is dealing with the devotees where we're not breaking principle or something, it becomes very difficult to differentiate between the compassion And sometimes in the name of compassion, we find ourselves becoming very ruthless, especially not caring for devotees' feelings, their immediate needs also sometimes. And we find ourselves, looking always what is better for the soul may not suffice. Like we see like Prabhupada is praising Arjuna for his compassion in first verse, and the second you see him, mentioning it as a weakness of a heart. So how do we actually find a balance between them? Because it takes a lot of thought sometimes. Which way should we go?
Yeah, very practical question. Of course, you know the answer, but still, because you have asked, so I'll say something. The point is that that's why I was telling this, that one should know what is compassion first of all. So the compassion means compassion for body, mind, intelligence, soul. That is a overall compassion. So here, although one sense it may appear that Krishna is not wanting Arjun to show compassion on the bodies, but this is a different situation here, over here. So here is a different situation. So this cannot be likened to two devotees caring for each other, right? They are not enemies of each other, isn't it? That's why we compared it with terrorist and government. That is a comparison. So government cannot, the terrorist who is causing a great harm to the country, government cannot be compassionate on his body. He has to give him some solid punishment. Who is a murderer, a terrorist? There has to be punishment, and that is Prabhupada will say ahead. Actually, will come ahead that such a punishment is also uplifting for that person. Otherwise, he has to suffer a lot in his next life. But the devotees are not like that. They are not enemies of each other, right? Neither they are kind of causing trouble or causing harm to anybody. So when we show compassion to devotees, the compassion has to be wholesome. It has to be body, mind, intelligence, and soul. All levels of compassion should be shown. It should not be that you all just chant Hare Krishna and will not give you prasad to eat. No prasad for you, only chant Hare Krishna. After all, you are not body, No compassion for a sick person. Hey, what is this sickness? No, Prabhupada showed compassion in all respects. We know very famous pastimes. That's why we have to understand Prabhupada also properly and instructions also properly. So Prabhupada certainly, spoke very strong philosophy. At the same time, Prabhupada showed a lot of compassion on this thing. We know Mayapur famous pastime wherein Prabhupada saw that some children they were fighting for remnants of devotees, and Prabhupada felt tears in eyes, and he said there should be nobody hungry in the 10 miles radius around the Mayapur temple. Then Prabhupada also saw some one devotee, the Guru Puja was going on, and there was everybody was worshipping Prabhupada and looking at Prabhupada. But Prabhupada saw that one devotee was having injury on his leg and he was limping. And Prabhupada immediately called him in front of everyone on Vyasasan, and he wrote personally the medicine for him. Because Prabhupada was no, pharmaceutical thing he has before. So he wrote medicine and he gave money also. He said, go and buy. There are so many examples wherein Prabhupada is telling in New Vrindavan, hey, you all don't have sufficient blankets? He's asking, and he ordered temple president, everybody must have sufficient blankets. So in this way, Prabhupada showed. So there was always an overall compassion, and that's what is a devotee circle, it should be. Otherwise, that compassion, you may say that we are showing compassion on the soul, but that compassion will not touch the heart of a person at all. If that person will say, Prabhupada always ordered that every program must be accompanied by prasadam distribution. There are some instructions of Prabhupada with that. Every arati should be followed by prasadam distribution. So that's why it has to be a very balanced understanding that compassion is for body, mind, intelligence, and soul at all levels. So one cannot be like this that you suffer materially, but I just tell you to chant holy names. This is not a complete compassion, it is incomplete compassion. It's an immature understanding of compassion. At the opposite is also true. If somebody shows compassion only for the body and not for the soul, that is also incomplete compassion. So generally in this world, what is glorified? Bodily compassion is only glorified, isn't it? Nobody cares for compassion for the soul. So that is also incomplete compassion. So many times, one may not have right understanding, and that's why may do such things. I mentioned. So that's why I said that there is an association of superior Vaishnavas required who will tell us, no, this is not the way. No, Prabhupada, like there was Prabhupada, and he told devotees, no, devotees should have blankets. In Vrindavan, he told sufficient blankets. And Mayapur, Prabhupada cried tears that I am not able to provide milk for the devotees. He was crying tears. Oh, there is no sufficient milk to be given for the devotees. So that's what, when we associate with superior Vaishnavas, when we understand through proper pastimes of Acharyas, great Vaishnavas, then we'll know, we'll have right conception. All right. You would like to add something?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Jai Ho. Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna.